It's late August, and you are creeping up to your neighbor's porch under the cover of darkness.
Oh, yeah, a classic move.
Right. You're gently placing this incredibly heavy grocery bag by their welcome mat, and then you are just sprinting away before the motion sensor light clicks on.
Like a thief in the night.
Exactly like a thief. But you aren't leaving contraband. You are, offloading a massive pile of overgrown green squash.
The universal late summer gardener's dilemma. The great zucchini takeover.
It's so true. I mean, it starts out as this delicate gardening project in May, right? You cherish those first little blossoms.
You're so proud of them.
Right. And then suddenly the biology of the plant just shifts into absolute overdrive, and you are drowning in them. Like you're bringing them to the office. You're hiding them in your family's cars.
I've definitely left a few in the break room hoping they'd just disappear.
Same. It goes from this precious crop to just an overwhelming nuisance in a matter of weeks.
Which is, honestly, a profound misunderstanding of what this plant actually represents. Well, the sheer biological output of the zucchini, it shouldn't be viewed as a burden. That rapid growth, that massive yield, that is a feature, not a bug.
Okay, I like that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we are looking at one of the most versatile, biologically efficient tools you can possibly bring into a kitchen.
And that is the exact mission for today's deep dive. We are taking this ubiquitous, often mocked summer squash, and we're unpacking the actual science of what it is.
Because once you look under the hood...
Right, at the cellular makeup, the nutrient density, and even the thermodynamics of how it cooks.
That August surplus completely transforms. It stops being a weed and becomes this massive, untapped opportunity for your health and, your daily meals.
But to unlock that opportunity, you really have to fundamentally reframe how you see this vegetable.
You do. You have to see it for what it is, which is the ultimate culinary chameleon.
Go camellia.
Yeah, it amounts to almost any chemical or physical environment you put it in.
Culinary chameleon is honestly the perfect way to describe it. But before we get into the kitchen applications and all the diet hacking, I think we need to establish the baseline biology here.
Let's do it.
Like, what is a zucchini physically made of? And the most staggering data point we have in the research is that the zucchini boasts a water content of roughly 94%.
Yep, 94%, which puts it in the exact same hydration tier as celery, watermelon, or even cucumbers.
Which to me makes the zucchini essentially I'd call it a hydration Trojan horse.
I love that, a Trojan horse.
Right. Because you slice it, you roast it, you chew it, and your brain registers the entire experience as eating a solid, substantial meal.
But stealthily, behind enemy lines, it is delivering this massive payload of hydration.
Exactly. But looking at the numbers, I actually have a mechanical question about this.
Okay, shoot.
If this object is 94% liquid, how is it physically holding together? And I guess more importantly, how is it packing such a diverse nutritional punch?
It's a great question.
Because we are looking at significant levels of vitamin A, manganese, potassium, and these two highly specific antioxidants, lutein and zeaxanthin.
Right.
How does all of that literally fit into a structure that is almost entirely water?
Well, you have to picture the cellular architecture of a plant. When you hear 94% water, it is so easy to imagine like a green water balloon just sloshing around.
Right, just a puddle waiting to happen.
Exactly. But plant biology doesn't work that way. That water is actually locked inside millions of microscopic rigid boxes.
The cell walls.
Yes, the plant's cell walls, which are constructed from these really tough structural carbohydrates like cellulose and pectin.
Okay, so it's a very rigid framework.
Very rigid. And inside each of those tiny boxes is a vacuole, which is basically a storage sac completely swollen with water.
So the water is intricately bound up in this complex cellular matrix. It's suspended.
Suspended, yes. And that suspension fluid is the delivery system. The water inside those vacuoles isn't just pure H2O, right? It is this complex biological soup carrying all of those dissolved micronutrients you just mentioned.
Oh, wow. So the water isn't displacing the nutrients. It is literally the physical vehicle carrying them into your digestive tract.
Precisely. And let's focus on the specific payload it is carrying, because the combination is not random at all. It is highly synergistic.
Let's get into it.
Take vitamin A and pair it with lutein and zeaxanthin. When you analyze what those three specific compounds do inside the human body, The zucchini elevates from, just a generic green side dish to a highly targeted protective powerhouse.
Protective for your eyes and your immune system,
Yeah.
specifically, right?
Yeah, let's look at the eyes first. So lutein and zeaxanthin are what we call dietary carotenoids.
Carotenoids, right?
And in the world of optometry, they are essentially famous. Once you digest them, they travel through your bloodstream and they actively accumulate in the retina of your eye.
In the back of the eye.
Exactly, specifically in the macula. And the macula is this tiny area near the center of the retina that's responsible for your sharpest, most detailed central vision.
And from what I understand about oxidative stress, that specific part of the eye takes a massive beating from light exposure.
It takes a relentless beating. I mean, every time UV light or high-energy blue light from your screens hits the back of your eye, it creates free radicals.
And free radicals are basically unstable molecules, right?
Yeah, they're unstable molecules that are missing an electron, and because they are unstable, they violently bounce around your cells, trying to rip an electron away from literally any structure they can find.
Like your cell membranes or your DNA.
Exactly, and that cellular damage is what we actually call oxidative stress. Over time, that stress literally degrades your vision.
Which means lutein and zeaxanthin are acting as a defense mechanism against that.
A huge defense mechanism.
Because they're antioxidants, so by definition they have extra electrons to spare.
You nailed it. They can neutralize those free radicals by donating an electron before the free radical can tear a hole in your macular cells.
That's incredible. So they're operating almost like internal sunglasses.
Internal sunglasses is the perfect analogy. They're filtering out the damage on a microscopic level.
And they do that alongside vitamin A, right?
Yes, which is the foundational building block for rhodopsin.
Rhodopsin.
Right, which is the light-sensitive protein in your eyes that allows you to see in low-light conditions. Without adequate vitamin A, you literally lose the ability to see clearly at night.
Wow.
Furthermore, vitamin A maintains the structural integrity of your mucosal barriers.
Meaning your skin, your intestines, your lungs.
Exactly. Those barriers are your immune system's absolute first line of defense against pathogens.
So every time you slice into a zucchini, you aren't just dealing with some watery garden weed.
Not at all.
You are actively maintaining the physical barriers of your immune system and the microscopic health of your retinas.
It's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
It really is. And this biological structure, being heavily hydrated but densely packed with targeted nutrients inside those rigid cell walls, it completely changes the mechanics of how you feel after a meal.
It does.
Serves as this strategic tool for hacking your diet.
Because the dietary applications here tap into the actual physiology of eating. We are talking about the mechanics of satiety.
Meaning how your body actually knows it is full.
Exactly.
Because the data points explicitly to using zucchini for cutting carbohydrates and overall caloric load, but without sacrificing the sheer volume of the food on your plate.
Because it provides a massive boost of dietary fiber.
Right. And this is where we get into the savory applications.
Yeah.
I mean, the most mainstream example over the last decade has easily been zoodles.
Oh, zoodles. The spiralized zucchini noodles.
Right. You run them through a slicer, lightly saute them just to soften those cell walls we talked about, and then toss them in a heavy marinara or rich garlic sauce.
A staple of low-carb diets everywhere.
Yes. But the prevailing claim out there is that zoodles give you all the comfort of pasta at a fraction of the caloric cost. And I actually have to push back on that a bit.
Okay, let's unpack the pushback. Where does the pasta comparison fail for you?
Well, pasta is heavy starch, and chemically, when you eat a dense, starchy carbohydrate, your body releases serotonin.
True.
It triggers a very specific, heavy, sort of lethargic comfort response in the brain. Zucchini just does not contain those dense starches. It cannot replicate that specific chemical comfort.
It simply doesn't have the chemistry for it.
Right. So to me, looking at it as a one-to-one pasta replacement just sets you up for disappointment. Instead, I think it makes way more sense to view the zucchini as a blank canvas.
A blank canvas. I like that.
Yeah, it is a structural vehicle for bold, heavy flavors like marinara, Parmesan, or slow-cooked meats. You aren't really tasting the zucchini at all. You're tasting the sauce.
Your blank canvas analogy is chemically very sound. The reason it works so flawlessly comes down to the plant's volatile flavor compounds.
Or I guess the lack of.
Exactly, the lack of them. Think about a vegetable like broccoli or Brussels sprouts. They contain strong sulfurous compounds called glucosinolates.
Oh, right. That very distinct, almost cabbagey smell.
Yeah, and if you put marinara sauce on broccoli, The sulfur fights the tomato. They absolutely clash on the palate.
That sounds terrible, actually.
Right. Zucchini, on the other hand, has an incredibly mild, almost completely neutral flavor profile. It lacks those aggressive defense chemicals.
So it doesn't fight the garlic?
It doesn't fight the garlic at all. It absorbs the savory elements of the fat and the acid completely.
So the flavor of the dish becomes entirely dictated by whatever you dress it in.
Precisely. But we also have to address that mechanical satisfaction you mentioned earlier, because when you crave a massive bowl of spaghetti, you aren't just craving the serotonin hit of the starch.
What else are you craving?
You are craving the physical act of eating a large volume of food. You want the repetitive jaw work, the swallowing, and most importantly, you want the literal feeling of weight in your stomach.
You want to feel physically full. Like a tiny calorically dense protein bar doesn't give you that feeling, even if it happens to have the exact same amount of calories as a huge bowl of pasta.
Right. That physical feeling is called gastric distension.
Gastric distension.
Yes. Your stomach is basically a muscular sac. And when it physically stretches to accommodate a large volume of food, you have specialized mechanoreceptors embedded in the stomach wall that detect that stretching.
Okay.
And once they detect it, they send immediate electrical signals up your vagus nerve straight to your hypothalamus.
Which is the part of your brain that controls hunger.
Exactly. That signal tells your brain, we are full. Stop eating.
Which is what makes the zucchini an absolute biological cheat code for volume.
A total cheat code.
Because of its 94% water content and the structural fiber holding that water in place, it takes up a massive amount of physical space in your digestive tract.
Yes, it takes up the space without the calories.
So you get the gastric distension, the stretching of the stomach, and the entire sensory experience of eating a hot, heavy, sauce-covered meal, but without the dense caloric load of a refined flour pasta.
It mimics the mechanics of eating pasta without ever trying to replicate the chemistry of pasta.
That is such a crucial distinction.
And your blank canvas concept applies brilliantly to another major savory application we see in the sources: stuffed zucchini.
Oh yes, stuffed zucchini is incredible. That involves taking a larger zucchini, slicing it right down the middle, scooping out the center seeds, and basically treating the remaining shell as an edible bowl.
An edible bowl.
Right, and you fill that hollowed out space with incredibly dense, hearty ingredients. Lean ground turkey, quinoa, black beans, sharp cheddar cheese, and then you bake the entire thing until it blisters.
From a nutritional engineering standpoint, what you're doing there is stretching your macronutrients.
Stretching them. How so?
Well, you take highly calorically dense foods, the concentrated protein of the turkey, the complex carbohydrates in the quinoa, the fats in the cheese, and you physically disperse them across this massive, hydrating, low-calorie vessel.
Ah, I see.
It literally tricks your visual perception and your stomach's stretch receptors into registering a massive feast while keeping your actual caloric intake perfectly balanced.
Because the vessel itself is just quietly providing structure, hydration, and maybe a very mild sweetness that actually enhances the Maillard reaction.
The browning of the meat and cheese on top.
Exactly. But this blank canvas adaptability, it goes much further than just savory dishes.
Oh, way further.
Because if its mild flavor allows it to completely disappear into savory dishes that are heavily seasoned with garlic and turkey, we can actually push this culinary chameleon to the absolute opposite end of the spectrum.
We can leverage those exact same physical properties for baking.
Yes, we move straight from savory dinners into sweet morning pastries. Zucchini bread and zucchini muffins are, they are legendary in baking circles.
Absolute classics.
And the technique involves taking the raw vegetable, grating it on a box grater, and then folding those raw green shreds directly into a sweet batter of flour, sugar, and eggs.
It adds an unbelievable level of moisture without altering the flavor of the pastry at all.
Which is just the ultimate form of stealth health.
Right.
Sneaking vital micronutrients into a really decadent treat.
It works so predictably, too, because it relies on the basic thermodynamics of baking.
Okay, let's connect this back to the cellular structure we discussed at the very beginning of the deep dive.
The rigid walls and the vacuoles.
Right. We know it is 94% water, locked inside those rigid cellulose walls. By running it along the sharp metal teeth of a box grater, you are violently tearing the cellular walls apart.
You are mechanically exposing that massive payload of water.
You are breaking the dam.
Exactly, breaking the dam. And now you fold that exposed water and all that torn plant tissue into your batter.
Okay.
When you place that muffin tin into an oven heated to, say, 350 degrees, thermal dynamics take over. The heat penetrates the batter.
Right.
And as the temperature of the water inside those grated zucchini shreds passes the boiling point, it undergoes a phase change. It turns from liquid water into vapor. It basically becomes steam.
Oh, wow. So it is actively hydrating the bread from the inside out while it bakes.
Yes. The steam expands, but it gets trapped inside the gluten network of the flour.
That makes perfect sense.
This creates lift, and it keeps the crumb of the bread incredibly soft and moist. Now, traditionally, bakers achieve that level of sustained moisture by adding heavy amounts of liquid fats.
Like canola oil or melted butter.
Right. But the grated zucchini provides the exact same structural moisture through water vapor, allowing you to actually cut down on those heavy fats.
And because we established earlier that zucchini lacks those aggressive volatile sulfur compounds found in other vegetables, the plant matter essentially just melts into the background.
It completely
The
vanishes.
delicate fibers just break down completely in the heat. It doesn't turn the bread green. It doesn't impart any vegetal salad-like taste at all.
No, the blank canvas just absorbs the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and the vanilla extract.
So your palate only registers the complex sugars and the baking spices.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the lutein, the zeaxanthin, the potassium, and the immune-supporting vitamin A, they survive the baking process.
That's the best part.
They are baked right into the crumb of a sweet muffin, and your brain just interprets the whole thing as a delicious, decadent, baked good.
It completely masks its own biological identity for the sake of the recipe.
It really does.
Which I think brings us full circle to why this plant deserves a fundamental rebrand.
I couldn't agree more. It is a masterclass in how understanding the deep biology of a single ingredient can completely revolutionize how you utilize it in your daily life.
We started today with this very visceral image, right? A grocery bag full of an overwhelming, fast-growing weed just abandoned on a neighbor's porch.
The burden.
A burden. But by simply understanding its physical makeup, we've entirely transformed its value.
Completely transformed it.
It is a hydrating, oxidative stress-fighting powerhouse that literally guards the macula of your eye.
Yep.
It is a volume-based diet hack that leverages your stomach's stretch receptors to provide mechanical comfort without the caloric crash of heavy starch.
The cheat code.
Right. It is an edible, moisture-rich vessel for savory meats. And it is a thermodynamic secret weapon for creating impossibly moist, nutrient-dense baked goods.
Honestly, it genuinely deserves a permanent, respected spot in your weekly kitchen rotation.
The moment you stop seeing it as a nuisance and start seeing it as a structural tool, your entire approach to cooking with it just changes.
It opens up so many possibilities.
Which leads us with a fascinating, broader culinary question to ponder.
Oh, what's that?
Well, think about it. If a humble, often ignored squash can seamlessly transition from a savory cheese blizzard main course right into a cinnamon-spiced breakfast muffin simply because of its high water content and neutral flavor profile, what other bland or boring foods are we completely underutilizing in our kitchens? Simply because we haven't dared to completely change their context.
That is a great point. It really forces you to look at every neutral ingredient in your pantry and wonder what it could become if you just changed the surrounding chemistry.
Exactly. So the next time you walk out your front door in late August and find a mystery bag of green squash sitting on your welcome mat instead of rolling your eyes.
You might actually be a little excited.
Yeah, you might just want to thank your neighbor for the Trojan horse.